Good evening, everyone. Members of the public gallery should note the Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate time during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with the Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. And please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges their offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai nations. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and future. And I also welcome all those who are attending the meeting and who are watching online. We begin by apologies, which I see we have a full house, so we have no apologies. Any declarations of conflict of interest, councillors? No. Thank you. And we have a confirmation of minutes of previous council meetings. Do we have a motion there? Thank you. Councillor Madeley.
I move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary Council meeting of 4th February 2025.
Seconded, Councillor Taddison. Motion not being opposed. The motion is not opposed, it's carried. Any commentary? No, and thank you for chairing it in my absence. Business arising from previous meetings, there's none? None. We move on to 5, which is the acceptance of late and urgent items. For those who are watching online or in the gallery, where there's a late item, it's a two-stage process. One is the Council can choose to accept or reject that item. Assuming that it's accepted, then the item can be debated at some stage during the meeting. Councillor Stevens.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move that Council accept Councillor Lowe's notice of motion regarding the reduced speed limit on Stratford Maffra Road as a late item.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Fote. Is that motion opposed? The motion being opposed. Okay, so Councillor Stevens.
Basically, I think it's fairly straightforward as a procedural motion, so I'll reserve my right to close, Mayor.
Did you wish to speak against?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Lowe, for bringing forward this very important issue. The short-term implementation of lower speed limits on the Stratford Maffra Road are a concern, as are a number of other issues with regional roads. So my point on not dealing with this is to try and gather more information around some of the other issues with regional roads to allow the officers to provide further feedback regarding speed limits and some of the road maintenance issues that we have with our regional roads. So I think if we could deal with this in a more planned and considered manner and have officers provide a level of report, that would be more appropriate. So that's why I was speaking against that motion, or the late item.
And apologies, Councillor Fote, I should have offered you the response first as the seconder there. Did you wish to speak? No. Does anyone else wish to speak?
No?
This is about whether we accept the motion. The motion may indeed be accepted, then we'll have a chance to debate the motion. So did you wish to speak about whether we accept or don't accept the motion?
I wanted to speak against, it's a conflict.
Microphone, please, Councillor Oakwood.
I will need guidance, please. I wanted to speak, and I am in favour of the motion with some more or less amendments. I want to speak.
Well, that would be if the motion is accepted onto the agenda, then we could have a debate around that.
Thank you for your guidance, Mayor.
Yep. So, happy for Councillor Stevens to sum up?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Look, I support the acceptance of this late item because I've had an opportunity to read the notice of motion. I don't disagree with what Councillor Taddison is suggesting, but I'm quite happy for this single issue to be brought forward and discussed at tonight's meeting. We can have further debate, I think, in the future on other issues relating to regional roads maintenance Yes, after due consideration of any other issues. So I support the adoption of this acceptance of late item. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Well, given we've had that debate about whether it should be accepted or not, could I ask those in favour of accepting Councillor Lowe's notice of motion? And those against? And that's been carried. So I'm happy for this item now to be put now in the agenda. So, Councillor Lowe, if you'd like to put that motion.
I would like to move the notice of motion, a recommendation that the Council write to the Hon Melissa Horn, Minister of Roads and Road Safety to A. Communicate our disappointment with the poor condition of many rural roads managed by the Department of Transport. B. Outline our concerns regarding the reduction of the speed limit on the Stratford-Maffra Road from 100 km/h to 80 km/h without appropriate community consultation. C. Query the process data and criteria that informed the decision to reduce the speed limit on the Stratford-Maffra Road, as well as other similar speed limit reduction decisions in rural areas. D. Request a timeline for planned road maintenance/improvements on the Stratford-Maffra Road to ensure road safety in the long term. And E. Seek a commitment from the state government for greater community consultation before implementing significant changes to regional road speed limits.
Is that motion seconded? Councillor Ripper just got him there. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. If you'd like to say a few words there, yes, Councillor Lowe, and I'm actually quite comfortable with anyone else who wishes to say some words following Councillor Lowe to do so.
That's the one, yep. I want to thank the Mayor, Councillors and the CEO for taking the time and consideration of my motion to express my concerns to send a letter to the Hon Melissa Horn, Minister of Roads and Safety. We received some correspondence from a national member of East Gippsland, Tim Bull. He stated some thoughtful points which relates to my motion. I've added some points from his correspondence. Tim Bull emailed to the Department of Transport. 1. This appears to be in direct contradiction to the DTP speed zoning policy, which states that as part of the considerations to changing speed zones, that community engagement is also conducted to understand the community's views and explain the reason behind the speed limit change decisions. When determining or changing a speed limit, engagement with affected communities and road users shall be undertaken. Engagement is important to be able to gauge the level of support that the community and road users have. The extent of the community engagement will depend on the circumstances. If a significant change is proposed on an arterial road, then consultation needs to be expanded to include affected road users, businesses and others who may be impacted. Finally, your letter states you liaise with the Wellington Shire and Victoria Police. Wellington advised me they have not supported either this change or the one at Tinamba. They have been made aware, but I'm told by Wellington, their feedback stated community consultation must be undertaken. To say they supported this is not their view, and I can advise that Vic Road stating this has angered them considerably. These points align with my views as a councillor. The Department of Transportation did not adequately consult with the local community, which is a crucial aspect of their role. Understanding how these changes will impact local businesses and residents should be a priority. The Wellington Shire Council did not recommend reducing the speed limit from 100 km/h to 80 km/h without first engaging with the community. The government stated they must consider the local views of local citizens, otherwise trust in all levels of government, local, state and federal, will be undermined. Many community members mistakenly believe this decision was made by the Wellington Shire Council rather than the Department of Transportation. Moving forward, I hope the Department of Transportation will prioritise effective communication with local community members and businesses. Without such communication, it risks eroding trust with its constituents. By investing in local roads and infrastructure, the government can begin to rebuild public trust and restore confidence in its decision-making. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to this? Councillor Ripper?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to endorse Councillor Lowe's words and those words of Tim Bull's. I'd like to mention, and the main thing I got out of that reading by Councillor Lowe was it would appear that the Department of Transport Vic Speed Zoning Policy, Edition 2, dated December 2021. In the speed zoning policy, I will read 2.4, community engagement. When determining and changing a speed limit, engagement with affected communities and road users shall be undertaken so that expectations and impacts are understood and considered. Engagement is important to be able to gauge the level of support that the community and road users have to speed limit changes. A high level of support and awareness will result in better outcomes for the community through better acceptance of compliance with speed limits. I want you to remember compliance with speed limits for further in my discussion. The extent of community engagement will depend on the circumstances. For example, if a speed limit change is proposed for a local access road, then it is likely the only that it affects residents who will be consulted. However, if a significant change is proposed on an arterial road, then consultation needs to be expanded to include affected road users, businesses and others who may be impacted by the proposed speed limit. Higher levels of community engagement may be required to ensure successful implementation and compliance. It is recognised that there will be circumstances where the road authority will have to intervene urgently or in response to specific speed zoning requirements, e.g. school speed zone, traffic signals at 100 kilometres an hour road. In situations, the road authority may be required to change the speed limit and advise the community the reasons for the change as soon as practical. I don't believe in that document that Councillor Lowe, that last paragraph, was adhered to. I'd also like to mention I, in fact, was the first vehicle through when they were putting the speed signs up from Stratford to Maffra. By the time I returned, they were putting the last one up at the Maffra end. So I would say, at a guesstimate, there could have been about 7 or 8 speed signs either side on the Stratford-Maffra road. However, 2 or 3 days later, it may not have even been then, I was pretty upset at vandalism. Now, I know that some people weren't happy, but you do not show your displeasure at vandalising signs. My reason being, is that if there was an accident along there, there's certain people who will get involved if there was a death. And I just think, unfortunately, that vandalism was done for what reason I don't know, I'm not qualified to say, but it was pretty disrespectful, and I had notified the Department of Transport via a snap, send and solve of what happened. I've counted 5 signs when I can drive there safely and observe them. So I just wanted to make note of that. That has proved absolutely nothing, and I can assure you I've been over there twice a day just checking, getting a bit of a reference of what's happening, and not one vehicle has passed me at 80 kilometres an hour going, 80 kilometres an hour coming back. So that tells me a little story. However, I am in agreement with the 80 kilometres an hour. And it appears that Vic Roads, unfortunately, hasn't complied, and with the state of roads, as we all know, I think their public relations area needs a little bit of an injection. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. Did anyone else wish to speak to this? No, thank you, and thank you, Councillor Lowe, for your for your motion. We move on to a second late item, and this again is not the debate about the item, it's a debate about whether it be accepted on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to just add a couple of words at the end of this proposed recommendation. So the recommendation is that Council accept the surrender of lease and asset purchase of West Sale Airport property as a late item at item 17 in closed section, and the extra words I'd like to add are due to its commercial nature. So due to its commercial nature. So Council accept the surrender of lease and asset purchase of West Sale Airport property as a late item at item 17 in closed section due to its commercial nature.
Okay, seconded Councillor Madeley. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed is carried, so we'll deal with that item at the...
And there will be, of course, a formal motion outlining the normal process for going into closed session at the appropriate time too, Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have any petitions or joint letters?
None, Mayor.
None. Thank you. So we'll move through then. Excuse me, I'm still dealing with paper at the moment. We're supposed to have a paperless office some time back, but didn't quite work. We'll move on to the invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. I believe we have one from Councillor Stevens.
Yes, I'll start if you like. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I attended the formal opening of the Warragunya On Country House at 4 Mile Creek Road on Friday the 7th of February. And this is a new facility. It's only stage 1 at the moment of eight beds. I think eventually they're going to build a second wing, and there'll be 16 beds. Now this facility has basically been built with just a community committee. So I'd like to congratulate all the participants who made that possible. I think Merrin Stevenson, I'll single out, was one of the prime movers of that, and that basically they've raised all the funds and got the necessary money together to build that facility. I'd also just particularly like to acknowledge Chris McAvoy of Radial Timber in Yarram, because he's leased the land. He owns the land at 4 Mile Creek Road, which is basically sites for plantations for his mill, and he leased the land to the committee for this facility. And I'd also like to acknowledge our own Mark Coleman, because he basically put Chris McAvoy in touch with the committee and found the committee the site. So he did a lot of background work to help them get this facility going. There was a good crowd in attendance, and this facility will help Indigenous men who have just been released from correctional services to basically have a home and get back on their feet and then be able to move on in society. So it was a great day. There's good community support. They've got ongoing funding from a number of philanthropic, I can't say that, trusts to help them fund this facility. So I wish them all the very best. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens, and thank you for representing Council there. We don't have any other invited addresses. We do. Thank you, Councillor Madeley.
Thank you, Mayor. The Mayor and I attended the induction of the new group of Wellington Shire Youth Councillors last Wednesday. The new group consists of 12 young people in total, with a great mix of new faces and some with a year or so of experience. 5 councillors are returning and 7 are in their first year. The Youth Mayor is Darcy Wright, who is a Year 12 student from Sale College. Deputy Mayor is Harry Stevenson, who is in Year 10 at Gippsland Grammar, and he is showing great leadership, stepping up into this position during his first year on council. There are young people from a range of towns: Sale, Maffra, Hayfield, Stratford, Longford and Warwick, and representation from across 4 secondary schools and a virtual learner. Importantly, the Youth Council also has members from the older cohort of 18 to 25 who can represent the viewpoints and experiences of young adults in our community. The first event for the group is a free barbecue at the Sale Skate Park on Saturday the 1st of March as part of Parks Week.
It was a great event seeing the new and the returning youth councillors. Thank you, Councillor Madeley. We move then on to the Mayor and Councillors report. Do we have a motion there? This is item 10.1. Sorry, I've got Councillor Lowe.
I would like to move that the Mayor and the Council's reports be noted for December 2024 and January 2025.
That was seconded by Councillor Madeley. Since you jumped up so quickly, is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Did you wish to say anything there, Councillor Lowe?
The councillors and the mayor have been quite busy over the last 2 months. So on the 1st of December, Councillor Ripper and Councillor Bannerman attended the Gippsland Armed Forces Museum West Sale, celebrating 25 years. And Councillor Bannerman also attended Rosedale RSL. I'll skip through a couple of them. On the 10th of December, Mayor Rossetti attended a BOC Longford opening event, then a photo shoot with One Gippsland, then meeting with Danny O'Brien MP, Tim Bull, the council officers to discuss Australian sustainable hardwood and some challenges they have to state government, tenders. CEO was also in attendance. Okay, I'll get in further. Go to January. 8th of January, Mayor Rossetti again, pre-recorded interview with Southern Cross Austereo regarding One Gippsland seeking support for key freight projects. Then you got the 26th of January, all the Australia events. I won't name them all, but there was a lot of councillors and the mayor attended nearly every single event, so it was awesome. And the 31st of January, Councillor Bannerman attended Rural Council's Victoria meeting with Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Local Government, Catherine King. Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Lowe. And I think what it shows also is the, it's a brand new council with 5 new councillors. Actually, we've all hit the ground running. Even through January, which is often a quieter time for events and things going on, there's been a lot going on through the council work. So well done to all of you. Move now on to Delegates Report. I think we just have one here from Councillor Wells.
Yes, good afternoon all. On the 5th of February, I went to the Community Advisory Group with Southerly 10 in Morwell. Just a real brief overview of the meeting. It was quite a good meeting. At this stage, Southerly 10 are submitting to the state and federal government their environmental report, so that should be about mid-year, and hoping for a response around Christmas for their environmental report. So far, they've sent 25 reports to present for this job. Coming up, they've got soil surveys and more environmental studies. There's going to be a noise monitoring done at Reeves Beach. Just the usual monitoring just for the noise that comes from the wind turbines. Then there will be some Gippsland offshore wind days, which will be the 12th of March at Port Albert, March the 13th at Golden Beach, March 22 at Sale, and March 27th at Leongatha. Then we moved on to VicGrid. So they're talking with VicGrid about project delivery from 2028 to 2030, that they have to have their project delivered. There's still a bit of conjecture around above ground and below ground, but I think it'll come back to above ground at this stage. They're still talking with all the landowners and trying to work out which is the best direction to take that. They need to be done by 2030 because they're talking the first wind farms has to be done by 2032. So there's still a fair bit to go. It was a good meeting, worthwhile. I did speak to them in regards to trying to have another meeting with the councillors and the new councillors to get everyone up to speed with the process of from what's actually happening to now to where, and just having a good 2-hour session so we're all up to speed with what's happening. The next meeting will be April the 3rd, and yeah, that was about all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wells. Did anyone else have any delegates reports they wish to share? Thank you. Then we move on to item 12.1, the Chief Executive Officer's report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. You're moving that.
Thank you. I'd like to move that the Chief Executive Officer's report be received.
Seconded. Councillor Lowe. Yeah, by Whisker. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. That's...
Thank you. The Chief Executive Officer is for December 2024 and goes through to January 2025. Over that period of time, the CEO has attended 16 events, either in person or online, and I might note that 4 of those events, 3 events on the one day, have been taken. So we've just picked out a couple. On December the 4th, attended the Joint State Local Government Monthly CEO Forum, and on the 10th of December, meeting with Danny O'Brien MP, Tim Bull MP and council officers to discuss sustainable hardwood and some challenges with tendering for state government business, with Mayor Rossetti also in attendance, and attended the Longford Heliport 50th anniversary celebration with Mayor Rossetti and Councillor Bannerman in attendance. And also on the 20th of December, annual catch-up with the Gippsland CEOs in Glengarry. So you note the catching up with the local CEOs in the area for other councils is really sharing information, which is wonderful. So thank you, CEO, for all your attendance and feeding back to Council what you've gleaned for those relevant commitments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. We move on to 13.1, the Assembly of Councillors. Thank you, Councillor Madeley.
I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period 27th of January 2025 to the 9th of February 2025.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Wells. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried. Did you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
We move then on to item 13.2, the Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation Environment Protection Act 2017. Do I have a motion there, councillors? Thank you. Councillor Bannerman.
I move that Council appoint and authorise the council officers referred to in the attachment instrument titled S11B, Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Environment Protection Act 2017 as set out in the instrument. 2, that the instrument comes into force immediately upon being signed by Council's Chief Executive Officer and remains in force until Council determines to vary or revoke the instrument. 3, that Council revoke the S11B Instrument of Appointment and Authorisation, Environment Protection Act 2017, dated 22nd of April 2024.
Seconded, Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed is carried. Councillor Bannerman.
Just wanting to add some information there for anyone listening at home or in our gallery that this is a process whereby we've been advised that our authorised officers have been appointed under Section 242 of brackets 2 of the Environment Protection Act 2017, either generally or in a particular case to institute proceedings for offences against the acts and regulations described in the attached instrument of authorisation. We, Council, received advice from our lawyers that individual council officers need to be appointed by name rather than as we had by their position titles. So a new instrument has been prepared and is now before Council for approval, covering all 12 council officers appointed by title in the previous authorisation by Council dated 22nd of April 2024.
Thank you. So we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. Thank you, Councillor Bannerman. We move on to item 14.1, the monthly planning decisions, November and December. Thank you, Councillor Fote.
I move that the Council note the report on recent planning permit trends and planning application determinations between the 1st of November and the 31st of December 2024.
Seconded, Councillor Taddison. Is that motion opposed? Motion not being opposed, it's carried. Councillor Fote.
The total number of planning decisions made for November was 38, with an additional 30 decisions made in December. This represents a significant number of planning permits approved, which is highly encouraging. It's exciting to see such positive development and growth in our area. If you look at table 14.1.3, it shows the decisions made in the Wellington Shire comfortably above the rural regional average. And again, it highlights a positive trend and further demonstrates the strong growth and development occurring in our area compared to other regions.
Thank you, Councillor Fote. We move on to 15.1, Capital Works Program 2024-25. Do we have a motion there? Councillor Tatterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council note changes to the 2024-25 adopted Capital Works budget with $913,888 removed from the program since the start of July 2024, resulting in an adjusted Capital Works budget of $67,613,539 as shown in attachment 15.1.1, which also includes projects that have been deferred or cancelled for reasons as shown.
Second to Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? The motion not being opposed, it's carried. Councillor Tatterson.
Thanks, Mayor. The budget's modified when projects are added due to carry forwards from the previous year, new grants, emergency works, or when projects are deferred or deleted due to changing circumstances or market forces throughout the year. This year, a number of grant submissions have been unsuccessful and the budget is currently lower as these projects have been removed. Of considerable disappointment is the Cameron Sports Club redevelopment, which has been deferred, the Delta Bridge strengthening and the unsealed roads around John Street in Sale. So the lack of those grants has meant those projects are not going ahead this year.
And it's appropriate to budget for those ahead of time, because if you get the grant, you need to have the money there to co-contribute when the agreements are that. But when the grants don't come through, and we know money is very tight at all levels of government, then you need to defer them or do something else with those projects. Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. We move now to item 16, further gallery or online comments. This is an opportunity for anyone in the gallery who wishes to come forward and address council. If I could ask if you come forward and state your name for the record, and 3 minutes would be great.
Thanks, Mayor. Alan Haywood from Pearsondale. This is on.
It's on. Yes, we can hear you, Alan. Thanks.
This is just a follow-up from my presentation last meeting regarding the damage to the levee bank at Warwick behind the Rivers Inn. I asked a question then, and it was this: was it a mistake that our Shire did not move to have the damage repaired after I raised it back in 2013? Now, I've since realised that that may have not been a question that was relevant to the Shire, because I suspect that maybe the CMA, who I had notified, did not tell the Shire. So I'm still having to research this situation. It may not be. This may be a mistake or incompetence of the West Gippsland catchment. But moving on, the CEO invited me to talk to Mr Hasty after the last meeting, and this is just a brief summary of what was discussed that I made note of after that meeting on the 4th. The CEO asked Chris to chat to me after my presentation in the comment section at the end of the meeting, which brought up the lack of assistance from the Shire to assist with restoring the levee. My allegation is that someone has not done the required thing of requesting the owner at that time to restore the levee. Any earthworks under the flood overlay require permission and permit. I passed on to Chris that the CMA say it's a Shire responsibility. Chris indicated it was a CMA issue. Chris seemed to, Mr Hasty I should say, seemed to be short on exact detail of this particular issue, which is fair enough, so I said, he said he would need to look into it further. I indicated that I have earlier sent to the Shire an email from Adam Dunn saying that it's a Shire responsibility. The discussion was back and forth for some time, which partly was because Chris was not up with all the history of this, which is fair enough as well. By the same token, he believed it was the CMA to deal with. My main point was that I told CMA about this in 2013, and up until recently I had no indication it was entirely a Shire task to police this. I brought up 2 examples of previous violations which had to be corrected by landowners, but Chris was unfamiliar with these 2 cases. I also made a comment saying that I believe the Shire is favouring developers over local residents because of the unwillingness of the Shire to show any interest in assisting with our objections and not responding to my questions about the Warwick development. After talking for a while and not seeing any way to move on without more information, we ended that discussion. Now some time ago I said that I'm going to find out who made the mistake. Now this could be an indication to the Shire that the West Gippsland catchment may not be up to the task of being the only advisor to our Shire to consult for issues like this. Now, this may end up being their fault, and I'm having to research this. I would have preferred the Shire to be doing this on our behalf. So all this comes about because the Shire and West Gippsland catchment did not invite me to the recent meeting. I think it was November or thereabouts, October, November. Someone has decided not to invite me to that meeting. Now, we could have thrashed all this out then, but because I wasn't invited, I've got to come here 2 times so far, last meeting and this meeting, to get to the bottom of it. So at the moment, that should have been a Shire responsibility when the owner was still there that did the damage, around about 2007 or thereabouts. And here we are, 2025, and I'm still trying to get this fixed. So I'm going to find out, I have to find out, because you won't find out, whether the West Gippsland Catchment Authority contacted you in 2013. So I'm a little bit upset that I have to keep coming here to get this major issue fixed, which affects the Shire as well. The Shire has roads, many kilometres of roads behind this levee bank, and you've already shut one because of water, not through here, but you've already shut one because of, anyhow, I could go on, but I've used up my 3 minutes. So I just want to put on record what's happening so far, and someone from the Shire could come to me during the week and help me find out if you people were notified in 2013. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Hayward. And, anyone else to speak? Thank you.
Lord Mayor, councillors, staff, my name's Ian Pree from Terrelbin. Lord Mayor, to save a lot of time, because of my poor preparation, would I have permission, I've got 9 copies here, the councillors could pass them round?
Yeah, sure, you just pass them across here too.
Thank you. And my other concern, I had these made up, the City of Sale envelopes, I had them made up in January 1995, because after the amalgamation in December the 2nd, 1994, Sale lost its city title. Lord Mayor, councillors, I've done 3 surveys mainly through the CBD, and people don't know their local identity. Why this is astonishing, because Sale is Gippsland's first city. It's a proud heritage. But on midnight on December the 2nd, 1994, the city ceased to exist. So what did it become? Lord Mayor, I'm aware that here on these, well, it's my first time, and it's not a question and answer, so I don't expect the answer. But I can still ask the question in general. Why wasn't the new identity of Sale put around? It's astonishing to me, because with that heritage, with that proud heritage, Gippsland's first city, and yet it's 31 years since December the 2nd, 1994. We are walking, and it's still astonishing to walk around the CBD, business owners, and they say, oh, I think this, or I think that, or I don't know. So I thought maybe I could put that tonight, and maybe come up to the next meeting where the councillors are prepared, can do their research, and I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Preet. Anyone else wish to speak? Then councillors look for a motion to move us into closed session.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move that the meeting be closed to the public to consider confidential information pursuant to Section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020 and defined in Section 3, subsection 1, as involving private commercial information which, if released, would unreasonably expose current business, commercial or financial undertakings to disadvantage. Point 2, the grounds for designation under Section 3, subsection 1, G2 have been made as the information is deemed confidential to protect the commercial negotiations.
That motion seconded. Councillor Madeley, is that motion opposed? Not being opposed, it's carried. We'll just clear the gallery and move into closed session.